Happy days! Episode 6 of the aluminium Gullwing project. Last week we left off on the reverse sections in the front of the car. This week we're keeping the momentum going in the front end and tackling the headlight sections. Now they might look simple, but they're quite a complex, time-consuming shape. So they require a little bit of precise hammer blows, some careful filing, and all-round shenanigans. Stick around and find out how we made it. Where did we start? How did we start? A paper pattern, just like usual. So, cut a large piece of paper, stuck it on the center of the headlight. Why did we start by sticking in the center of the headlight? That's because I always like to start my paper patterns where the least work will be done. So, that's the center here. There's no stretch, there's no shrink, there's no bend. Bam, we know that. From there, we started shrinking our paper pattern all the way around, stretching a little bit on this inner section. So we know, we shrink, we stretch. From there, we bolted it on, annealed it a little bit, started hammer forming it around. As we got a defined edge, we went to the Eckhold, gave it a little bit of shrinking, put it back on, hammered it around a little bit more, back to the Eckhold, shrunk a little bit more, clamped it back on. Just went back and forth like that for a couple hours, and eventually we were left with something similar to this. Then we just went with hammer and dolly and neatened it up a little bit. Now today, we're going to show you how to neaten it up all the way. Let's grab the files, soap and hammers and get to it. This panel might look like it's a shape, but it's further away from it than it is to it. So what we're going to do today is just start by going over the whole thing with a file to mark our highs and lows and see where we can start working this as a whole. Let's get to it. Going to chuck on a little bit of soap and start filing. So it might look like while I'm filing, I'm taking away a lot of material. I'm really not though. I've shrunk this material, so it's a lot thicker where it is. And all I'm doing is just scuffing the highs. And then from there, I'll tap the lows up and scuff the highs again. So I'm taking material away, but it's insignificant. It's not gonna affect the strength of the body at all. So now we've scuffed up this front quarter section. We can see where the lows are, we can see where the highs are. So all I'm gonna do now is flip it over and start bringing up these lows. File it again, bring up the lows a little bit more, file it again, and from there it's going to start coming perfect. So I've got this chunk of steel that I just filed flat and polished. The polish is a little bit dulled now, needs a new one, but all I do is chuck that down there, get my favorite hammer, and then start tapping it from the backside onto there. I don't want to hit extremely hard and stretch the material. All I'm doing is moving. So as soon as I hear it start pinging, then I know, hey, it's touching, check it with a file. There we go, we've hammered one little section. Now let's go with the file, scuff it up again, see if we brought those lows up enough. If not, tap them up some more. Just like usual, we work in small increments. We don't want to bring that low into a high and then have to shrink it down again. So we just bring it up a little bit. It's going to touch in one section. We don't hammer there anymore. Next section, just small increments. When metal finishing a panel, it's the same as working a panel. We can't work in spots. We have to work the panel as a whole. So I've worked this top section a little bit. Now I'm moving further down. So I'm going to grab a half round file, start filing that, knocking down a couple highs, bringing a couple lows up. Then we go around, and each time we pass through the whole panel, it's just going to get better and better. That way, in the end, we've got a good panel. Whereas if we just metal finish this top section, and then this section, and then this section, we're going to have waves and we're going to have troubles that we're going to have to fix afterwards. Whereas if we work it as a whole in small increments, once it's metal finished, it's metal finished. So here's the thing. At the moment, I'm the only one shaping metal in the shop. And while these complex panels are super important, they can be extremely time consuming to make. Honestly, it's not always the most visually exciting thing to watch because progress can feel slow, but that's the reality of building a car by hand. And on these more complex panels, it's not uncommon to have to restart a piece completely, which means double, sometimes triple the time. That's why not every episode is going to be full of fireworks. Some can feel a little bit drawn out, like this one. But that's all part of the process. These are the steps we have to take if we want a great result in the end. If you're enjoying the journey, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps. And if you've got ideas or suggestions, drop them in the comments below, or let us know what you'd like to see next. Your feedback helps shape this channel just as much as I'm shaping this car. So I can feel a little bit of a wave or a high in this panel in the bottom here. So all I'm gonna do now is take my half round file slapper, and I'm just gonna tap extremely softly. With the sandbag backing it, I'm gonna get it nice and snug. Then just tap it down, feel it. Tap it down some more, feel again, tap it down. Not gonna hit hard. I don't wanna stretch metal, I just wanna move it. So as we can see here, we've just got a slight low. It's touching next to it. It's touching on this edge here also. Just that center low. So all we're gonna do is most likely find a somewhat flat file, turn it at a slight angle, and bring up the low from the backside like that. Just hammering softly, repeatedly but softly, bringing it up in small increments. I'm gonna be using this one because it doesn't have a lot of shape, and if I turn it, it's gonna give a bit more of a flat. So that way, hopefully I can get the whole low. If I want to get a little bit less area, I just turn it straight again, and then it's not going to be touching the edges. That's the goal. Let's see if it works. There's where our low was. Let's hit it with a file, see if it's come up at all, see if it needs to come up even more. We can see now our low is almost completely gone. Slight lows in between, but majority of it is gone. What we're gonna do now, leave that section. We don't want to finish it yet. Move on, work the next section a little bit, then the next section, then the next section, and work around the whole thing. Exact same way, I'm gonna find a chisel that fits in neatly in the corner where I wanna go, chisel it up, file it back. Happy days. So when I was hammer forming, I had the slap on the panel, and then I was just tapping with the ball peen. Then the ball peen slipped off and knocked quite a sharp little dent in it. All I'm gonna do now is flip it over from the backside. I've got this piece of stainless that I just turned down the lathe. I'm gonna put that on the low and nothing else, and tap it up. File, check again, tap it up, just 3 or 4 times. This is nice because it's a very sharp point. So it shows you how much you use all the different tools. You're constantly changing between them. That dull spot over there, we can see that's where our low is. We filed all around it. If you run your finger over it, you can feel it's actually quite a deep low. So what I'm gonna do now is I've got a couple highs and lows going through this reverse, but I don't want to pick them up. I just want to smooth it out. So I'm going to stretch the material a little bit. I'm going to go with this pillow dolly on the back, a half round slapper. I'm just going to go softly and blend this whole area. So why I'm using a slapper over a hammer for this area here is sometimes a slapper plays in your favor, sometimes it's the worst enemy. Here it's nice because I'm tapping down the highs up front while bringing up the lows. So that's what I mean by blending, is as I tap here, if there's a high behind it or a low in front of it, it's spreading the load. It's not as precise as a hammer. So on areas where there's a lot of work, I find out it's very nice to go and do majority of the cleanup with the slapper. Then the last small little sections, I'll go with the hammer and do just exact precise blows how I want it. We have another deep dent in this corner, but it's not a small one. So this time I'm gonna go just with a regular hammer and tap it up from the backside. That'll bring majority of it up. If we left with a small dent afterwards, then I'm gonna go with the chisels and bring it up how we did it before. So I've got the whole panel to about 70% of a metal finish now. Now I'm just gonna go back to the beginning, chase out a couple more lows, file it, go around the whole thing again, start over, do the whole thing again. I'm not gonna metal finish this 100% because when I weld it onto the rear section, I'm gonna have to work the weld again. That's gonna change and move some stuff. Then once the headlight bezels and indicators are fitted also, I'm more than likely gonna have to move the edge in some places. So to metal finish it now, it's gonna be pointless, but I needed to get it to very close so that when I have it welded together. I'm not going to be there for days, just hours to get it to a presentable and nice straight piece. This is why I meant 60-70%. We can see those lows there. Let's knock them up and get to it. That is this panel. I wouldn't call it metal finish because it's not, I'd just be lying, but very close to a metal finish. Once I've welded it on, I'm going to go through everything again, and then also I'll weld these holes up, turn the flange to hold the headlight bezels in place. But for now, this is where we leave it pretty damn close. Some half-full primer will get this thing dead straight. But you can see it looks like I filed a lot. If you have a look at the table, if you take those filings over this whole area, it's really not much at all. The amount I've shrunk on this flange also to bring it around, it's probably still thicker than it was before I started giving it shape. So next step on the Gullwing is going to be fabricate this lower section. Once that's complete, we're going to start welding together. We're going to weld these three sections, the inner reverse, the outer and the lower together. Once they're all welded and planished, I'm going to take this headlight bucket, put it on there, weld all the way around it. Why I'm doing it that way is this has so much shape, it holds so much strength, so the weld shouldn't pull much at all. If it does, it's going to be really easy to planish and blend in. That's just the method I'm going to use.